Hi everybody, how you doing? Here we go again, 1 o'clock, so I am here. I'm in the house today though. We've given up going over to the shop as much as possible, so I'm going to do the tutorials from the house. So if anybody's there, please do say hello. I've commandeered, hi, somebody's liking, so I've commandeered a corner of the dining room so that we can carry on with these tutorials. So we're going to do the sew along today, but I'm going to give you guys a few minutes just to sort of get online and get comfortable. So hopefully you're all set up with your phones by your sewing machines, and you'll be able to do this along with me. So yeah, I've cleared out a bit of the dining room so that we could set this up. I had to cover, I don't know if you can see behind me. Here we go. I've had to cover the mirror though, so because when Drew's going to film me again, so when Drew's filming me from the other side, the camera kept wanting to focus on the mirror. So so I've had to cover that up with a quilt, and I've also covered up, kind of covered up one of my sewing shelves because that's a mess. It's a real mess. Hi Sian, hope you're well, lovely. Not going too stir crazy. So I am a little bit snuffly today, but I had a really horrid reaction this morning to a new deodorant. I sprayed a new deodorant, and my nose did my silly nose and my allergies. It really didn't like it. So yeah, I'm a little bit snuffly. Hi, Sarah Jane. Hope you're feeling better today, darling. So yeah. So I am a bit snuffly, so if I'm extra sniffy, I'm sorry. I know if you guys come to class, you're used to me being sniffly with my stupid allergies and stupid nose. But yeah, I'm not going to be using that to... Hi, Maria, hi. Yeah, so I'm not going to be using that deodorant anymore. I'm going to... I won't chuck that one away. I'll give it to one of the boys. But yeah, new deodorant, new perfume didn't do good things for my nose at all. So I am extra snuffly. Hi Linda, hope you're okay, darling. Oh, there's lots of you are coming online, which is amazing. Thank you. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to do this sew along. Okay, so I'm going to be sort of pausing in between each little bit so that you've got time to catch up. Hopefully you're all set up ready. We're going to be doing this 3D illusion block, and we're going to do a block. Hi Dave. We're going to be doing a block. Every Wednesday, okay? While everything's in lockdown, we're going to be doing a block every Wednesday. So you can make 2 or 3 of these blocks. That's absolutely fine. Or you could put them, you can put them together, or you can wait until each. Hi, Liz. Wait until we've done more, and you can do 1 of each. This is just basically to keep you entertained, to give you some ideas. All right. So hopefully you've all cut out. Those of you who are going to sew along, you've cut out all the pieces. I did yesterday put a thing on for the cutting instructions, so that's there for you. And yeah, I think we're going to get going. We're going to give you just a couple more minutes. Like I said, Drew's going to be cameraman again, like he was for me yesterday. Hi, Gina. So hopefully, hi Zinnia. Hopefully, I hope that's how you pronounce your name. I do apologise if it's not. I get it all the time because I'm a Sarah without an H, and people call me Sarah and all the rest of it. So, yeah, hopefully we won't get any interruptions with the Facebook live feed. But if we do, we'll go straight back on, and you just have to reconnect. Okay. So how is everyone doing? We're just going to give everybody just a couple more minutes. Everybody okay? Everybody well? We got Disney Plus yesterday. So my big boy Rory, he's in London with Cara, his fiance, and he signed up to Disney Plus and put a profile on for us. So we've signed on here, which is amazing. So I'm now doing all of the Marvel films in chronological order, because we are a geek family, I'm afraid. Muchly great geeks here. So yeah, we started with Captain America yesterday, and now we've got Iron Man 1 on, the first one. So, right, okay. I think everybody has had enough time to sort of get going and get settled. We're going to get going. So I'm going to give the camera to Drew, and we're going to turn it round, and I'm going to go through hopefully what you've cut. Okay, so I'm going to give the camera over to Drew. So. I'm going to flip the camera around. You should be able to see Drew. Okay. Okay, and Drew's going to hopefully film me. Hi. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing this block here, which is the 3D illusion block. Okay. I've done this one in some Janet Clare fabrics that I had lying around. I bought these, about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I just thought they worked really well on this block, so that's what I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be demonstrating with these as well. So hopefully you will have cut out of your background fabric. Okay, so my background fabric is this one round here, like that. Okay, so you should have cut out 2 5-inch squares. Okay, so you should have 2, there is 2 there. Okay, and then 4 2.5 by 4.5 rectangles. Out of your light fabric, which is this one here, you should have 4 2.5 by 4.5 rectangles. Out of your medium fabric, okay, you should have 2 5-inch squares. And then out of your dark fabric, you should have 1 4.5-inch square, and then 8 little 2.5-inch squares. Okay, has everybody got that? Okay, hopefully for those of you who are sewing along, you've already got that. So what we're going to do first is we're going to create the half square triangles. Okay, so what you need to do is get your 2 background 5-inch squares, okay, and your 2 medium 5-inch squares, and you are going to put them right sides together. So I've got my medium one down and my right sides together like that. Okay, and I'm going to do the same for this one. Now if you want to pin, you can. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. I'm a bit of a lazy quilter and I don't tend to pin, but I'm going to be a good girl and pin them at the moment. Okay, so once you've pinned them together, you want to draw a line diagonally across. Now it doesn't matter which way, as long as it's from corner to corner, and hopefully you can see me doing this. So I'm using a red Frixion pen so you can see this, so it's nice and bright on the screen for you. So I'm going to draw a line corner to corner like that, and then you're going to do exactly the same on the other one. So you're going to draw a line corner to corner. Doesn't have to be a Frixion pen. You're not going to see this, so it can be a pencil, it can be a washable marker, whatever you fancy using. Okay, so there we go, we've got that. Now let me grab another pin like that. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to stitch 1/4 inch down either side of that line. Okay, so Drew's going to come, hopefully follow me over to the sewing machine. So I'm going to scoot along. I need one of those slidey chairs really. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. So haven't got my 1/4 inch foot on. So Drew, if you just come up to me so I can just talk to people a minute. Hi. So I haven't got my 1/4 inch foot on. You can use a 1/4 inch if you want to. That's absolutely fine. I tend to use my normal foot and then just move the width of my needle over. So a lot of machines nowadays have got a 1/4 inch set in. So that's what I tend to do, because I find that my 1/4 inch foot, the little guide bit, particularly when I'm doing half square triangles, gets caught on the edge of the fabric. Okay, so I tend to use my normal foot and move it over, but you're more than welcome to use a 1/4 inch if you've got one. Okay, or if you can't move your needle over. So if we go back to sewing, hopefully you can see this. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm going to sew 1/4 inch. Excuse the noise. I'm going to sew 1/4 inch down that side. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it round and sew 1/4 inch down the other side. Okay.
They've lost the sound.
Pardon?
Apparently they've lost sound.
You've lost sound?
Yeah, Sarah and Dave said they've lost sound.
Right, okay. Can anybody else hear me? Anybody else hear me? Okay, can anybody let me know?
Jenny says she still has sound.
Okay. Drew, you're not covering the little microphone bit at the bottom or anything now?
No.
No? Okay. Hopefully you guys have still got me.
Maria has sound.
Yeah.
I think it's just Sarah and Dave.
So Dave, I think it might be your signal in your house, love. Okay. So, I'm going to go down this side as well. Okay. So hopefully I'm going to pop this over here now in the daylight, because it's not the lightest bit. Can you see, guys, that I've sewn 1/4 inch either side of that line? Okay. And once I've sewn 1/4 inch either that side of that line, I'm going to cut along the line. So I'm just going to line my ruler up. You can do this with scissors as well if you want. Use my rotary cutter and just very carefully cut up that line. And you've now got, hopefully, 2 half square triangles. Like that. Okay? Right. Okay. I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes, and once you've done one set, you're then going to do the other set, okay? So, I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes. I'm going to just iron these out and all, while you guys, hopefully, complete that. Okay, so...
Linda says it's a bit quiet, might be too far from the mic.
Right, okay. 2 seconds. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the phone back a second. There we go. I'm going to... Oh, hi! I'm going to turn, just because I know the phone, I'm going to turn the volume right up, okay? And I'm going to ask Drew to sort of just come to the side of me. No, actually, no, you're going to have to stay that side, love, because we won't be able to see the sewing machine. Okay. Right, so I will try and speak up a little bit. Okay, can everybody hear me okay if I'm doing it like this? Yeah? Okay, right. This is all a learning curve, as you all know, because this is the first time we've done a sew along. So when we're doing a... I'll ask Drew to kind of not cup the phone too much. We'll try and keep it so the microphone is really, nice and out. Okay, so going back to the half square triangles, I'm going to give the phone back to Drew a second. There we go. Okay, so yeah, try not to do that. Try and keep your hands out of the way. Okay, hi. So what you should have then is some half square triangles, and when you're ironing them, I like to iron to the dark side. As you know, we go a bit Jedi. Okay, like that. And I always press my seam first, which sets the stitch in, okay, and then roll back and iron out. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on this one. So just finish that one off. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew this second half square triangle. Okay, so Drew, if you can just come a bit closer, hopefully you guys can still hear this. So we're going to sew down this side here, 1/4 of an inch away, and then I'm going to turn it round and sew down this side. How are we doing? Okay, there we go. So that's my second bit of stitching done, and again I'm going to take it over here. And we're going to cut it up. So I can take those pins out now. Okay, and line up my ruler along that line and cut up. Okay, and then again, I'm going to just iron those out. So I'm going to just set the stitches. Press that out. And then again with this one, set the stitches. And press that one out. Okay, so how's everybody doing so far? Do you have your 4 half square triangles? Should I give you just a couple of minutes? Or you're all okay? You've all got those bits so far? Yeah? Fab. Right, well while you're stitching those, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you or hopefully if you're watching along, I'm going to show you how to square these up. So squaring up is something we all hate doing. It's really tedious, but it will make your blocks go together so much better. We always go on about, oh, my points don't match, and but this will make your points match. If everything is the same size, it'll make your points match. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So I've got a ruler here, which hopefully you can see this. It's got a 45-degree line here running the right way. So I'm going to line that. Now I want these to be 4.5 inches square. Okay, so just don't go too close, okay, because people won't be able to see because it'll not focus right. So you want these to end up being 4.5 inches square. So I'm going to put my diagonal line along, pinning needles, pins everywhere, and I'm going to put the diagonal line on that ruler, that 45-degree line, along the seam. So I'm running it along this seam here, this diagonal seam. And the thing you want to look for is, in fact, if I use this, hopefully you can see, I want them to be 4.5, so this is my 4.5 inch line running down here, and it's also running down here. And can you see that it's within the fabric? Okay, so if I brought it down too far, it's suddenly not within the fabric. So you need to make sure that it's definitely within the fabric. Okay, I'm going to hold it nice and steady, and I'm going to go up the right hand side and then across the top. Okay, and trim off all that excess. And you can see it's only a little bit, but if all of your squares had that much extra on them, it'd all suddenly be all wonky and out of the way. Okay, and nothing would match. And I'm going to turn it round, and now I can line up the 4.5 inch line down the left hand side and the 4.5 line across there. Okay, and then again I'm going to trim up that side and across the top. And like I said, it is only a widgy bit, but that suddenly makes that block the correct shape compared to this one. Okay, so you're going to square up all 4 blocks. So I'm just going to quickly do that again now for you. How's everybody doing? Please do comment if you are there and if you're doing okay, or if you want me to slow down at all, you know, or if there's anything that you need me to explain again. The written instructions for this block I will put onto our website, okay? And we'll do just like, you know, a nominal £2 charge for the full pattern. But then I can send them out by email for you. I mean, you're going to have this tutorial, which you should hopefully be able to follow along with me. But if you want the written instructions, I will put those onto the website today for you. And you'll be able to buy them off there, and we will send them out via PDF. It won't be a physical pattern in the post. It will be an emailed pattern, okay? So I can do that for you. And hopefully this is making sense what I'm doing here with the squaring up. So again, I'm lining up that diagonal line here and making sure that my 4.5 and my 4.5 are within the fabric, and then I can trim off that excess. Okay, and again, trim off, turn it round like that. Okay, so you can see that's all the wastage I've actually got off the 4 blocks. There's nothing really, but it will make a massive difference to how the blocks actually go together. All right, so I'm just going to get rid of that into my trusty thread catcher. Okay, so come back up on me a minute now, groups. Hi, so how you going so far? Do you have your 4 half square triangles? Everybody okay with that little step? Yeah. It's quite a nice easy little step, and there's lots and lots of things you can do with half square triangles. If you're new to patchworking, doing this in different colours and laying them out in all different directions, you can make diamonds, you can make all sorts of patterns with just that little technique, okay? So there's your half square triangles. You're going to put those aside for later. The bits you want to find now are your 4.5 by 2.5 background rectangles. And you're going to need your 8 little 2.5 by 2.5 dark squares, okay? So, first thing you want to do, so Drew, if you want to come back down on here, is you're going to draw a diagonal line across each one. So I'm going to use the red pen so you can see this. Okay, a diagonal line across the back of each of the 2.5 inch squares. Okay, so a little bit time consuming. It shouldn't take you a couple of minutes, okay? Just across the back like that. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making flying geese, okay? Which, actually, let me just show you, is this little bit here of the block, okay? Can you see here? So this piece that we're drawing now is this bit here. So we're going to be making these little flying geese which sit in the blocks, okay? So I'm going to go across like that. Nearly there, just whip through these. So, has anybody got any questions? How's everybody doing? Everybody okay? Are you all talking to each other on there? Because I can't see the comments at the minute. I'm hoping Drew's keeping an eye on it all.
I am reading them.
So, everybody all right? Nobody needs me to run through anything through that first bit again, no? So,
Sally said genius, wondered what those diagonal lines were for.
Ah, right. Yeah, indeed. That's what that bit's for. So, this time, what we're going to do is we're going to make the flying geese. So you're going to take one of your 4.5 by 2.5 inch rectangle, background rectangles, and you're going to take one of your 2.5 by 2.5 dark squares. Okay, you can see I've drawn the line across. You're going to put them together, right sides together. Can you see I've lined up the corners through to here? Okay, I'm just going to grab a pin. I'm going to pin that flat in place. Okay, again, you don't need to pin if you're quite confident, but pin if you're not. Okay, but this time, where before we sewed either side, this time we're going to stitch right down that line. Okay, so I'm going to take it to the sewing machine. So if you follow me across here, okay, and I'm going to sew directly on that line this time. Okay, so straight down. There we go. So straight down that red line. Okay. Now you can chain pieces. You can, you know, stack them all up and feed them through. That's absolutely fine. I'm just going to do one geese at a time at the moment for you. Okay. So sewing that one on. And what you want to do is you want to trim away this excess piece. Okay. So not this side, this excess bit here. So I'm going to line my ruler up with about 1/4 inch, the 1/4 inch line on my ruler on the sewing line. And I'm just going to chop off that excess piece there. And then hopefully you'll be able to see this. When I roll this back, so I'm going to set my stitch and roll this back. You've got the first part of the flying geese, okay? So I've taken off this excess and I've got that first part of the flying geese. Flying goose? Flying geese? I don't know. Is it a goose or a geese when it's only one? You'd think it'd be a goose, but it just doesn't. Flying goose just doesn't sound right. Okay, so now the second hand.
Maria asked which fabric for the flying geese.
So for the flying geese, you're using the 4.5 by 2.5 rectangle in your background fabric, not your light, your background. Okay, and then your little 2.5 by 2.5 in your dark. Okay, right. So once you've put one side on, you're then going to put your other side on. Okay, and it is quite important that you trim off and press back before this one goes on, because you want it to overlap. Hopefully you can see this. So can you see that this square, so I've got it here right the way across, and it's overlapping the one that I've just sewn. Okay, and that's important, which I'll show you in a moment once I've stitched it. So again, I've overlapped it at the bottom, so you've got that little tiny overlap, and I can stitch down that red line again. So we're going to go across here, and we're going to stitch down that red line. Okay, stitching down there, like that. And again, I'm just going to press that, excuse me, and take that pin out. Ooh, doing it with my left hand. And again, cut off that excess 1/4 inch away from your seam. Okay, so there's the, hopefully you can see that, there's the seam there, and I've cut 1/4 inch away. And now when I press it out, there's your flying geese, but you can see you've got this little tiny, can you see here, you've got this little bit of fabric, I don't know if you can see, little bit of fabric here, so the point doesn't meet the edge of the fabric, and you want that to be, that's how it should be, because if the point meted, that's not right, if the point met the edge of the fabric, when we sew it together in a minute, you'd lose that point. So this should be approximately 1/4 inch away from the edge of your fabric. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to make the other 3 of those. So I'm going to go through one step by step, and then I'm going to talk at you while you catch up. Okay, so right sides together, and you've got, can you see I've got the line from there to there. Okay, and that down, straight down on the line. Okay, so stitch down that line there. Okay, I'm going to cut off this excess. So I'm being lazy and not moving. So I'm going to cut off the excess. There we go. And then iron out like that. Okay, so that's your first little bit, and then I'm going to put the second one on like that, so it's overlapping at the bottom. Actually, if I put it on here, can you see that a little better? So I've got that, so you can overlap that at the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to stitch on that line again. There we go. So I've stitched on that line, and then now you've seen me previously, I've trimmed off with a rotary cutter. It's absolutely fine if you just want to trim off, because it is only a seam allowance, so it doesn't have to be exact. You can trim off with your scissors, and then I'm going to set the seam, not set the seam, that's something completely different. Set the seam and press him out. Okay, so there's my second little flying geese. So I'm going to go ahead and make the other two, and I'm going to try and talk to you while I'm sewing. Okay, so I'm going to get Drew. Drew, you don't need to sort of go really close up on this bit. Okay, just while I'm doing these bits. So how's everybody doing? Everybody okay? Are you all getting this so far? What have you been up to? We've had the police in Dinas today. I was watching them from the bathroom window earlier. They are stopping cars and asking people on the streets what they're doing out and about. So they really are cracking down, which is good. Which is good, really. We want people to take this sensibly, don't we? So yeah. So everybody's healthy at the moment. How you all doing? Talk to me, guys, so that I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Everybody okay? Are you getting all this so far? Is it making sense? Okay, because what we're doing is we're making the little components of the block before we start putting them together. Okay, so just doing the first bits of the last two. So Groups is smiling away, so I don't know if that means he's reading the comments and not telling me what you're saying, or whether he's just having a little chuckle to himself.
No, I was just laughing at what you're saying about talking to yourself.
Oh, right, yeah. It's the only one I get any sense out of, because I don't get any sense out of the boys. I might as well talk to myself, really. So.
Maria says she's still on the first goose. Lol.
Okay, that's fine, lovely. Remember, it's not a race, okay? So just go nice and steady, and oh, there's a dog making a lot of noise in the background. Go nice and steady, and don't go too fast, because remember, this is going to be online, and you can pause me and watch me back, watch the tutorial back as much as you need to. So how's everyone else doing? Everybody getting it so far? You all okay? There we go. I'm just going to do
Kathy said easy to follow, all good. Doing great, Sarah did all my name. You did say her name correctly. Ah,
cool. Excellent, like that. I'm getting something right anyway. Okay, so there we go. We're nearly finished on these last two geese. Okay, I can just cheat and do this. Chain piece these together. So if you were going to do a lot of these blocks, there's nothing stopping you doing all the, making lots of the half square triangles to start with, and then making lots of the geese up. So you've kind of done all the prep work, and then you can put the block together. Once you've made all the little bits, So we're obviously only just doing one block at the moment, which is why I'm just doing these little bits for you. But you could chain piece lots of it together and do it that way if you want. Okay, so here we go.
Phil's now watching.
Let's just come into the last little bit. I thought Phil was supposed to be doing some work. Hi, honey.
Barbara says brilliant, clear instructions on making the flying geese.
Cool, excellent, good. Glad it's all making sense for you guys. Here we go. So, and that one. Okay, so hopefully now, a bit of a wide shot, please, groups, just so people can see this, because they need to see this whole thing. So, you should have 4 flying geese, okay? And you should have 4 half square, which means that we can start putting the block together. So by that, we're going to lay it out. So I'm going to try and see it. So we're going to put a half square triangle No, it's not, because I've completely missed a step. What we're going to do now is we're going to need to put these two together. So, it's me getting very ahead of myself then. I thought I was further along than I was. I'm not. So, we're going to use your light fabric. These are the 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles again. And we're going to stitch those onto the bottom of the Flying Geese. Okay, and by the bottom I mean where that point is. Okay, so they're going to go onto this side of the Flying Geese.
Sandra said, caught up, doing good, Sarah.
Cool, fab. Well done, Sandra. Okay, so you're going to put them on. Can you see how the point is facing this fabric? So I'm going to put them right sides together. Now, if they are a little bit wonky, can you see, this Flying Geese here, a little bit wonky. The fabric's stretched just a little bit here. Don't worry about it. It's all going to disappear into the seam allowance. We all, you can hide in a seam allowance, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch those two together. So Drew, if you can come back over here for me. And again, just using a 1/4 inch seam, I'm going to stitch these two together. Okay. And then once I've stitched them together, I'm going to just iron them out. Okay, now I'm going to iron them towards the light fabric, which is something you don't normally do. Normally you would iron towards a dark, but by ironing towards the light fabric, there's a lot of bulk just here. Okay, so by ironing towards the light fabric, you're just allowing it not to be too bulky, and you're like giving the fabric a bit of breathing space. Okay, so there's the first little bit. Okay, and I'm going to do exactly the same on the others. So I'm going to grab these other ones here. Groups, you don't need to go close up on these, okay? They can just stay. So I don't know if you can see in the background. Have you seen all these beautiful little teapots? Okay. These, Elaine gave me, Sarah's mum. She was only asking about them the other day. So yeah, I do have them out. They're all lovely, lovely, beautiful Chinese teapots. They're stunning. I love them because I used to do ceramics. Part of my degree was ceramics. Yeah, I do love them. They're fab. So right, I'm just going to stitch these down. I went off on a little tangent. Very quickly stitch these down. Okay, you all okay? Everybody's at the same sort of point as me now. Hopefully, I've given you a little bit of time just to catch up. I'm going to go down these seams like that. Okay, you can just whiz along. So actually a little tip before excuse me, itchy nose, that's that silly allergy. A quick little tip actually before I finish this last one. Right, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to mark it with a red Frixon. Okay, so you can see here.
Kate Berg's just joined us.
Hi Kate! So, can you see where those stitch lines cross? It's where I've put that little dot of red. Okay, that's the point. Okay, on the point. So if you stitch the other side, like this side of that red point, you're going to lose the point of the geese. Okay, so always try and make sure that your 1/4 inch is this side of that point. Hopefully that made sense. It's quite difficult to because I can't see what you guys are seeing because I'm this side of the camera. It's quite difficult to see if you guys saw that. Okay, there we go. So last few little bits, and then I'm just going to press these out again, and again I'm going to press them to the light side so that you reduce the bulk a little bit. Okay, and again press this one, so set my seam and then press it out and set my seam and press it out. Okay, there we go. So right, now we can start building the block. So Drew, if you want to go a bit wide, yes, we should have 4 blocks that look like this. So that's your Flying Geese and then your light fabric. You should have 4 blocks which are your half square triangles, and then you should have 1 block which is we've done nothing at all to. So that's your dark fabric and that's your 4.5 inch square, and that's your middle one. So we're going to lie these out now. So you've got your light fabrics touching that central square like that. Okay, so does that, hopefully you can see that. And then your half square triangles, so you want your medium fabric facing in to the centre. So take the medium fabric point and make that face into the centre. There we go, like that and like that. And there's your block almost complete. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew these bits into rows now. Okay, so I'm going to stitch this one to this one and then add that one on the side. Then we're going to sew this row and then we're going to sew this row. Okay, has everybody got something that resembles this? Everybody got something like that? Or near as damn it anyway. If you haven't quite got it yet, will you have something like that in a minute? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch this one to this one. Okay, and stitch together, and then I'm going to add this one onto the other side. Okay, so I'm going to go back. You can stay quite wide on this, love. Okay, so that I can talk to people rather than look at my hands. Okay, I'm going to stitch down again. I'm using a 1/4 inch seam all the way down like that. And then I'm going to open it out and I'm going to stitch my other half square triangle to this side like that. So remember, I will put the written instructions for this onto our website, onto www.whitegeckocraftlounge.co.uk, and you'll be able to, I'll do it as a nominal price, just for £2, just to cover the costs and bits and pieces. So I'll put it on for £2 and you'll be able to, we'll send it as a PDF and you'll be able to print this off. And it's got lots and lots of little pictures and the full written instructions, okay?
So Maria says I have 4 geese. Then Linda said, I'm not quite there for a minute. Then Shan said, love your sunglasses in your head, even though you're inside.
I know,
Laughing
you know,
face.
you know what I like is the sun's out, they stay there, they keep my hair out of my face. I put them on this morning because I did actually put the washing out on the line. And it was really sunny in the back garden, and then frankly they'll stay there for the rest until about November now. So whether I'm in or out, that's where they are. Okay, so there we go. So there's my first row, looks like that. My second row, so I'm going to sew the light fabric to this side here. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to grab that little second row there. So this is my middle row. So I'm going to sew that down then. Again, everything's a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay. So how are you guys filling your time? Are you watching lots of stuff on Netflix? Are you sewing lots? What are you doing? Are you finishing off any UFOs? Are you actually ploughing through that list? Or are you all mega busy still? How are you doing? What are you up to? I'd like to see pictures, please, of what you're doing as well. Can you send us some pictures on our Facebook page so I can see what you've been up to? I'm missing people lots. It's I don't do well by myself. I don't do well with nothing to do, as you may have noticed. So it'd be nice to see what everybody's playing with, what everyone's doing. Okay. So all I'm doing is put it together like that. Okay. There we go, and then the last little bit here. So that one's going to sit like that there. Okay. It is the most beautiful sunny day. I'm hoping that one of the boys is going to go in and mow the lawn out the front for me today. Because it's a little overgrown. It's looking like a jungle out there. I swear to God, it's like Jumanji. You'll be all sorts of things hiding in that grass. So yeah, I quite like the just a little hint, guys. I quite like the grass mowed. Okay, so I've done my 3 rows, and what I'm going to do...
Sally says yoga, exercise, crochet, not all at the same time.
Oh, that would be some feat. Yoga, exercise, and crochet, yeah.
Maria says, try not to nag my daughter to do work.
Well, Drew set up a whole cleaning rota. That's how bored he's been. He set up a whole cleaning rota. There we go. So there's the first row. So what I've done with this one is I've ironed the seams outwards, so out towards. Okay, and then the middle one I'm going to iron the seams in, and that's so that I can nest them up in a minute. Okay, so this one, the middle one, I'm ironing inwards, pressing inwards. Okay, like that. So that one's going to go inwards, and then the last one is going to go outwards again. So they've gone out, in, out. Okay.
Heather said she's been doing Tai Chi and reading.
Ah, nice. What are you reading at the minute, Heather? Anything, any recommendations? Anybody got any recommendations for a good book? Okay. So, there we go. So I've ironed that now, and now what I'm going to do is sew the rows together. So if we put this one against this one, hopefully you'll be like, Drew, you might need to go quite close on this. Can you see that this seam is coming this way and this seam is going that way? And that means you can nest those seams up together, and you can, if you feel carefully, they'll almost kind of click in, because they kind of, like, the edges kind of butt up like that, and you get nice sharp points. And this is something I would always pin, okay? And if you pin diagonally, so if you pin from down low across like that, I'm holding that back seam in place here, as well as this one. Okay, so hopefully that stops you, because you can control this top one, because you can't control where this one's going. So I find if you diagonally pin, so I'm going to pin diagonally across like that, I'm holding that bottom seam down, and it does make life a lot easier. So I'm going to take that to the sewing machine again. I'm going to do a nice long seam all the way down. Okay. There we go. Now I do sew over my pins. I find that, you watch it happen now, I find that I've never broken one so far. It's very rare occurrence. I've never had to worry about sewing over them. Something my mum taught me years ago. If they're at a right angle or they're well away, you should be absolutely fine. Okay, so you can see that this is behaving a weeny bit. So I just want to make sure that that is sat nice and flat. There we go. Didn't press it quite well enough.
Heather said a Tracy Kevlar book, if that's how you pronounce it. Fallen Angel, which I realised I read several years ago.
Oh, but are you enjoying it? Because if you are still enjoying it, it doesn't matter. I love a good reread sometimes. I've got some favourite books that I will reread lots. So, okay, so that's that one on, and then we're going to do the one this side. So again, put them right sides together, and you should be able to nest those seams. Grab a couple of pins again, and again go diagonally across to hold them in place, and just putting that one in there like that, and go diagonal. Actually, I'm going to use a thinner pin because that's a real thick one. It's like a little dagger, that, rather than a pin. Okay, and I'm going to stitch that in place. Okay, there we go. So we're going to go along this last seam here, all the way down. There we go. And that is your block completed. So I'm just going to take those two pins out and press that seam out, okay, like that. So you need to just obviously sort out all these little threads and everything. Oop. There we go, and that is your block completed.
Jenny says she's waiting for a new Elm Creek Quilters book.
Oh right, oh lovely. Oh, you're still reading those? I haven't read one of those for ages. Oh, they're good though, aren't they? They're really nice. They're really nice, just heartwarming reads those. So cool. Fab. Right, so that is your block done. Okay, there isn't a right way up and there isn't a wrong way up. It should hopefully be about 12.5 inches square. Hopefully you guys have all got something that looks like that, and that this was relatively easy for you to follow along with. Go for it. Have a little go. Do them in different colours. We did put a picture. I'll put some pictures up onto Facebook because we did a class on this block a few months ago now, and they look completely different in different colours. You know, change up your colours, see what happens when you play with it, okay? Hopefully the illusion thing on this, which hopefully if you can see, it's supposed to look like this, has flipped up and is coming over that square, which actually once you've quilted it as well, so when I quilted mine last one, we kind of quilted in and did some block that emphasised the fact that flipped up. So cool. Right, anybody got any questions? Anybody got anything they want to ask me?
Heather did say yes, I enjoyed it. Can only remember little bits. I think it's about the book.
Right.
It's quite new to me, old age her.
Oh, yeah, afraid so. It's coming to us all, love. It's coming to us all. But yeah, hopefully you're okay with the block. Like I said, I will put the written instructions on a website this afternoon, so you'll be able to get those if you want to. However, you can go back through over this Facebook Live video and sew along with us. I am going to be on again tomorrow at 1 o'clock, trying to keep you guys entertained. I'm going to show you some new products. So we've got some new wools and stuff and some new patterns that have come in. So I'm going to go through those. But send me your questions. Is there anything you want me to try and explain for you? Is there anything you've ever been stuck on and you think, oh, I don't know about this? Any quilting questions I will try and ask. Knitting, I can knit. I might be able to get through some of them. But crochet questions, quilting questions, yeah, drop us a line on Facebook or drop us an email. And I'll do some questions tomorrow if there's anything you want me to answer. And we'll be back at 1 tomorrow. Hopefully you've all enjoyed this. Hopefully you could see everything. Drew's camera work was a little better today. Hopefully you could hear me as well, that it wasn't too bad, the sound. Yeah, I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Take care everybody. Stay safe, stay home. See you soon. Bye.